Today's Sunday, November 30th, and it's an exciting day for me. And I'm going to make another journal entry because it's at the end of the month and it's going into December. And I haven't been doing these journal entries for like a year, but like I was even thinking today, like this being my last journal entry for it until I do the next one, like when I finally finish completing my my climbing wall and my tower, which I have to go show you my tower because look, I'm going up a little bit higher. A little bit higher, okay, just to make it like, okay, I can't take it any more higher, but I am going to take it a little bit higher. And there should be a good look. If I do a sign on top of that one, it's going to be taking it higher. Because look, that attitude was given to me when I was early young too. Taking it higher. That's probably why, when I was a kid, I wanted to take it higher. And we take it higher with dope and all kinds of stuff. It doesn't matter what we were taking it higher with. It didn't matter if it was a risk or if it was an alternate experience or whatever. But okay, so I'm going to be taking it higher. Okay, I'll make that note right there. But it is also a very, very happy day for me because, look, I looked over here. Okay, after actually realizing this lady, Kathy Jennings, what? Yeah. I'm gonna play her. Just a little short statement that she says. She's actually an attorney general for one of the states. I don't know which one. But I looked at all my dogs and they were all safe. And that's because Mr. T just came in, and he came in with the scent of the wild. Okay, like he's been out there. Look, his body was hot. He's giving off a hotty kind of smell, a smell of heat, and plus a smell of what was out there that he was around, And dogs, and I could smell him. And dogs do that for people too, look, they smell. Like my dogs, a lot of my dogs, like a couple of them at least, take special interest, in smelling inside my ears. Yeah. Or smelling my breath, like Ripley last night. I mean, I don't know why she's so constantly trying to and she got that elbow blown out. Like that elbow was blown off her, so she can only have that leg like that. All right, and she's taking her claw, I mean not her claw, but her paw, and going like that, and constantly. And thing is, she hits me in the face and scratches me. And then that's probably why I got this thing in my nose right here. From my dogs hitting me. And plus, the dogs, look, they say okay, I got a dog bite one time on my finger. It was with that lady that I got Charlie from, her name was Debbie. Anyway, not to go into all the crazy times, but it ended up one day, because of her, that I got bit in the finger by a dog. I don't know why she brought that dog on my property, but had a lot to do with dissociative identity disorder and alcohol. And those are two very, very bad combinations. Especially when you get inebriated on alcohol and you also already have dissociative identity disorder. But man, my finger swelled up like a hot dog. Like it was one of my fingers. Like I got bit by a dog, and fighting with one of my dogs, and then my finger was swelled up like a hot dog, and I had to go to the doctor and everything. And this from just only a bite, okay, and also scratches from dog paws. Like they scratch me in the face sometimes. At least Ripley does. I mean, they don't have any kind of like, it's not like they're trying to like hurt me or anything like that. They don't know. They're clumsy. And they just do that with their paws. And their fingernails have been out in the dirt and everything. And actually, you might not think that like in the dirt and everything, it's like germs and stuff. But somehow, dog paws, man, they get into germs. And dirt. Mostly dirt is a combination of germs and other things. I mean, we come from dirt. Like, so you can't like criticize dirt too much. But dirt is full of a lot of... In fact, I should probably just call this talk right here dirt. Because we come from dirt, and you know, dirt has a lot of bad stuff, and we come from dirt. I mean, it's not all bad. So, anyway, look, talking about bad, you know, because part of the reason I want to do this journal entry is because I seen this lady, and I seen her name is Kathy Jennings, D.E. And, see, her name reminded me of a very, very bad thing that I did in my life. I have done very, very bad things in my life that I shouldn't be ashamed of. And I held the harbor, and I have, you know, like, look. None of the times it's like all my fault, all right, but I was involved. Well, this one too is like my early starting out, my beginning in my life. Like I was young, and I played with matches. And I know that you're not supposed to play with matches, but look, I didn't even think about like the rules about playing with matches. All right. And I was with Mrs. Jennings, and I don't know if this is her. You know, this could actually be her. No, I mean, not Mrs. Jennings. The person was like the person who owned the property that was in the barn that me and her son burned spiders in, and put some hay in top of the hay loft in the web, you know, to make and then lighten it with fire, and then watching it burn through the web to get to the spider. And then some of it dropped down into the other hay, and then the whole thing caught on fire. And then we tried to smother it out with a bale of hay. And then that whole bale of hay went up into flames. And we ran out. And then when everybody came back and looked up, it was all one big blaze of fire. And they had all their personal property, including their car, inside underneath the barn, underneath the hayloft. And me and her son lit that thing on fire, and that barn went up in flames and burned all their stuff to a crisp. Look, this was way out in Wisconsin, in the wilderness of Wisconsin, on a farm. And we had a big furnace, man. We had a furnace like you could put Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego inside of. Like that kind of furnace you can walk around in. Because I had to go in that furnace before and clean it up. That's what we had to do. Because we put fire inside that furnace. And all we did was throw a bunch of wood in there and light it on fire. And then that put heat through the whole house. But you had to light the thing on fire. But you just had to throw regular wood inside of it. And look, man, we had bats on top of that house, man, on top of that roof. Like I could be dead. Because I went up on this big tall ladder as a kid, you know. It was leaning against the roof. I don't know for a reason. Maybe they're doing roof work or something. But I went up there on that ladder, man. There was a bat underneath, like tucked in there, like in the secret, like part where it went like that. One part of the roof went like that, and the other part went like that. And then there was like a secret part there, and that bat was inside of there, man. Came flying out, and I was on top of that ladder. And it scared the crap out of me, man. I almost went backwards. I almost fell off that ladder, man. I could be dead. Well, I could have been dead inside that fire, too. But, I mean, it wasn't like we were so stupid that we're, like, just get burned up in fire. I mean, no. The first thing that we had to do is, like, go try to get a water hose. But a water hose, that thing went up so fast. Look, by the time we came back with a water hose, look, it was a big barn, a hay barn. You put all the hay inside the top of the barn. And, man, came back with a water hose and looked up. I don't even think the parents came yet. But by the time, you know, we got back there with water, man, that place was fuming in flames. Like the whole place could have been collapsing. And the weight from the hay in the barn loft, I mean, them boards are only like that thick. It only ain't going to take that long for them to start burning through. And there's a lot of hay up there. That thing went down, man. All their stuff. In the underside of the barn loft, you know. Because all the hay was up in the loft. And everything else down below. And it got all burned up. Burned to the dirt. Look, that was my first experience, like, in self-condemnation. Yeah. I had to learn about self-condemnation, man. Well, it wasn't all my fault, though. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I was with, you know, her son. It was me and him together. And, you know, my mom was just renting the place. The farmer is the one who did the work with the barn. My mom was just renting the house. It had a big furnace too. And also that is the same place when I was a real young boy. You know, when my mom and my stepdad got divorced, you know, we had a dog. He was German Shepherd, and he was trained. Like my stepdad took him because my stepdad was German, and he was the one who would flick you in the ear. Like that. I'm not even going to flick myself. When he did it with a kid, man. Look. Okay. See? Look, I can almost make it hurt. No, when he did it when I was a kid, man, it hurt. And he was the one where I learned the word Gesundheit from. Because he was German. That's why when you sneeze, you said Gesundheit. And that's a German word for, Gesundheit. Bless you. I think it means bless you. So when you sneeze, you say it's supposed to say people, bless you. Like, I don't know why. That's a nice gesture. Saying if just because somebody sneezes, saying them bless you. Okay, so every time I sneeze, Rip, my dog, comes all into my face, has to sniff me, make sure I'm alive, and scratches me in the head with her paws. And her paws are like, they got germs on them and stuff like that because they've been out in the dirt from which we come. And see how everything goes around in a circle and then comes back to the beginning of where you start. To make you know it for the first time, again. And it just seems to me to be the way that the cycle of life kind of keeps revolving, teaching us lessons over and over again. And that is kind of like my experience in life too. Okay, I started out with I had my first lesson in real severe self-condemnation. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I must be kind of special to. This must be a special, really, really special experiment or something on me. Okay. Because I had to start out pretty young, knowing about this certain thing about self-condemnation or something. And, okay, so the beginning is you always have to start out with self-condemnation, and that is why we start from the dirt. See, I realize there's nothing special about me, all right? Just because I started out in self-condemnation. Because we all come from the dirt. So that's what I'm going to call this one, from the dirt. Because this journal entry right here is a journal entry in which I know that I made a punctiliar notice of this fact that we come from the dirt, okay? I have known this for a long time, and that's why, in my life, I've always been like an underdog, because I help the people that I see have been unfairly mistreated. Okay, it's okay if everybody gets the same treatment, but some people get treated unfairly, and it's unfairly. I don't like to see people get treated unfairly, so, I do understand, okay, that everybody, has to put up with their fair share of bullshit. And we learn that lesson from the top all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so just for the top all the way down to the bottom, I need to take a break right here. I have these serious kind of thoughts, because, I have already pointed out, about, I don't know, top of whatever I was talking about before, top of something. But, look, okay, you know what? See, I'm just gonna show you, because, I made a lot of progress, right? And because when I talk about going to the top, that's what I was talking about earlier before, going to the top. Look, see? Okay, see, I got. Okay, so at one part, see up there. Oh no. Okay. So that's why I put my tools in, that cooler. And then the part where the white is. And then in front of that, okay, you can see there where I'm taking that out, but I got a screw in there. I have to cut it, because I seen that it didn't line up. All right, look. Look, I got to get the line up, because I'm going to go up higher. And I got to put my post lined up with that other post, and then I have 3 up there. Look. I got 3 up there, and and that is also that's also my lowercase t. See, what I figured out that, I would go up there, but there's no need for me to do that right now. But look, I got it secure and everything. But I'm gonna make it more secure. But I think the hurricane season is over. But see, like, and there's kids now across in my neighbor's yard. I don't know if they're on Thanksgiving vacation or what. But they have little kids. The little kid that I knew mostly, the woman and the man who's now dead. But I think she got a new boyfriend, but I don't even know if she lives there. But other people do. And it's not her kids either. Maybe like one of them. But anyway, look, I'm just saying, look, before he died, I asked him how he got all this stuff and how he got all these deals and everything. Like, and he told me he got wheel and deal. That's what he told me, His name was Mitch. Look, they live over there. Yeah. Oh, that's my garage. Look, I don't know if you can't see their house, I guess. I don't know. They got a blue house, if you can see it in my phone recording. But the thing is, I'm just going to go back to the place where I started. That is self-condemnation, all right? And also going to the heights. Because, look, where I got up that I climb every mountain, I'm taking it that high, okay? And so I can take a 4x4. It's a 4x4 like square, okay? I'm going to go up and put another platform, and then it's going to be way up that high. It's going to be just a tiny platform to sit. But, like, I imagine, like, myself when I was a kid, like, I would really, like to go up to that spot right up there, man. And then sit, sit and do your thing. I mean, look out. I don't know. I used to, when I was in like 6th or 7th grade, I had this friend, Tchaikovsky. His last name was Tchaikovsky. Tchaikovsky or something like that. And I can't remember his first name was though. But I went over to his house for lunch, and we just little kids, man. Smoke some pot and then play in his attic, with like a pretend walkie-talkie or something that he's talking to. There used to be a song out, I think it was from that real famous Elton John, and like Spaceman or something like that, Rocket Man or something, I don't know. But he liked to pretend, And that's actually, and then that song came on the radio, I think. And he was talking like that, And I think he was just high. But still, also, plus we were little kids, he had imagination. And it could have been a combination of both, being high and having imagination. But it was just marijuana, and plus we were little kids. Okay, and that's what that thing reminds me of. Like, going way up. Because that's what we did. We went way up to the top, looked out his window. And it's a funny thing. Once again, I'm just going to say, so many times in life, you go around kind of the circle, and then to the place where you started from, and know it for the first time. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of like that. And that comes from a famous poem for people that watch poems from T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot. That's where I heard that line from. And now I'm just going to play this thing right here from this lady. And before I do this, I'm just going to say, see, this lady actually looks real. And when I was talking, and I did a journal entry yesterday, which I annotated the fact of documented, like when I turned on Fox News and I seen these people, these 4 women, this one guy, and they all look fake. And they look really fake. And I just don't like looking at people. All right, first of all, they look fake. And then second of all, why are you going to look fake and then try to tell me like something that you're trying to present as like real news or something? When it's not even news. They don't even call it news, but they present it as news. It's like opinion, something or other. It has the word opinion in it. And it's not news, But, okay. But the thing is, when you have people talking about this stuff, it makes a lot of people like follow them. And they call it news, when it's really not even news. It's just opinion. And it's bullshit. Most of them is bullshit. And they look fake. And then they talk about fake stuff. And it's like, how dumb do you got to be to actually listen to it? But a lot of people are. It's like candy. See, I could talk this. I could like mark this one as candy, because I have to actually review, what it is I'm actually trying to think about, and all these things do kind of, merge together, and kind of come out with a main message for me, because look, man, I started in self-condemnation, all right, and plus I already have the understanding that like me and somebody else started together, so it's not just me. And so I know it's not just me, it's not just you, and plus, like when I try to transpose, maybe some of my learnings and understandings onto you, my grandchildren, that you can understand, all right, that it's not just you. And that's why I said, look, man, it's not just you. And there's a lot of other people involved. And it's not all about you. And you got to put things in suspension like you're a tightrope walker. Tightrope walker. And I talked about that in my last one, which was a very significant one for me. And I actually wouldn't even be saying this stuff wasn't actually significant. But I think with this lady, and this lady is significant for me because actually she don't look fake. She don't look fake. I'm going to show her a picture, right? She don't look fake like them people on Fox News, all right? First of all, you can understand and look at it with your very own eyes. What is fake? What looks fake, okay? Fake is like when you put a lot of like makeup on and make everything like porcelain and, like a glass. Like, I'll tell you the fakest person, like Kristi Noem. Like, when I seen her, Jesus, man. She is so fake. Like, I don't know why some people like fake stuff. It's like looking at a little Barbie doll made out of plastic. Okay? That's fake. And I don't know why people are attracted to fake stuff. Even fake tits. They talk about fake tits, man. That sounds like a statement from Trump. Trump would say something like that. Okay. Look, I don't even want to go there. This thing is, okay, I have to go right back down the same place of condemnation where I started from, right? And we all start from the dirt. And so we all know a little bit about something about dirt. And nobody is exactly, perfect. And I already know that I've already made that statement before without understanding that nobody is perfect. I mean, I better put this thing on. All right, look. This lady, she's not fake, though. And she's a judge. And if you look at the thing about judges is, judges, like, have to make judge about people, like, every day. Okay? And it was very, 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 very exciting to me to actually know, because I realized that today that actually there's a group of judges that actually joined together, and they're going to, like, fight for the Constitution. And if me and you, human beings in this population of America, don't actually aren't able to push the load like the people that built the pyramids. Okay, like the slaves that built the pyramids. It took a lot of people to build them pyramids, you know. Those stones that they carved out in stone, and those blocks that they made carved out of stone, made into blocks and stuff like that, they were precise, like to the millimeter, and put into place and at a certain direct position, exactly in accordance with the geometry of the stars and how they knew this stuff. Who can only know? Seriously. And they did it. Look, I have to do this thing here. Look, here's the lady.
We're surprised, but I think it's abject fear. If he has appointed sycophants in his cabinet and to head the office of the Attorney General, and he has people who cannot and will not say no to him and will not stand up to him, state AGs are doing the same thing. No one is willing to defend our Constitution except us.
Yeah, we had a federal judge today question whether a...
And I wanted to stop it there, right there, where she said, no one is willing to stand up for us except us. Because I remember I made another entry, you know, in my journal entries about, you know, our Savior is us. But it was so encouraging for me to actually hear, those are all state attorneys, like, what do you call it? Okay, yeah, they're all those people in that right there. They were all general attorneys or something like that, you know, for the states, a coalition, and that made me really, really happy to actually see that. Okay, actually, the judges actually see what's going on, and they're not like shutting their eyes to it, and that's a lot of hope right there. That's a lot of hope. Okay, so, you know, just to recap, you know, like, look, that's a lot of hope. That came from a woman who I consider to be actually real. And I don't know if I mentioned that I seen a note from somebody who responded to me for the first time. Actually, same person, second time though, but this time at length, you know. And I wrote her back, and I'm gonna find out, like, you know, who she is. It's kind of exciting because I actually know that there's a lot of like observers out there. You know, they get paid for it, because I even already got like an invitation to become one of them my own self. Content observer, and they pay you. And plus, you know, there's robots now. I asked her if she was a robot. Seriously. No, I don't know if I said the word robot or not. I said, are you a real are you, just want to know if you're a real person. You know. And because, but look, this is my journal entry, you know, for you, my grandchildren, right? And I'm always thinking about I'm going to bring it to a close, because I think you already got, you know, like my spirit. But I will document it enough to actually show when I actually complete the top of my tower. Okay? Because I do hope one of my grandchildren sometime, you know, might come over when it's still young enough, you know, and be able to climb up that thing. Because, look, I'm going to make it so it's not so hard to just climb up, you know. It's not like a cakewalk. Like, I might make a cakewalk climb, but I might make some other climbs too. And the thing is, you're going to have to know where they are to get up, you know, when I actually make my climbing wall at the top. But it'll be going up to the top level, which is awful pretty high, and then you have to go up a little bit higher, all the way to the top. So I just have to call this one all the way to the top. But the thing is, like, I try to keep it at the point where, you know, Okay, like I already said, things go around in a circle. Okay? But you go all around in a circle, and I think it's an upward spiral. So I'll call this one upward spiral. Look, it's boring. It sounds like drudgery, all right? But that's the track we're on, okay? I think it might be by choice if you want to go up or you want to go down. So I just call this one up or down and leave it at that. All right.